Fists together, I am somebody. I may be poor, but I am somebody.
Red and yellow, brown, black, and white. We're all precious in God's sight. Everybody is somebody. Stop the violence. Save the children. Stop bullying. Save the children.
Hold your head high. Stick your chest out. You can make it. Keep hope alive. Keep hope alive. Keep hope alive.
The push is on, and thank you for tuning in to this edition of the Saturday Morning Forum. I'm Tim Lee, and I'm so honored to be hosting this forum with you today. Listen, let's begin like we always do with shout-outs and thank yous. First, we're going to thank you, the viewer. Whether you're viewing on the Impact Network or on Facebook or on YouTube, you have taken out an hour of your time on a Saturday morning to learn what we are doing here at the national headquarters. We want you to know, if you're on Impact, that you can use the DVR function to save the content or to share it with a friend. So use that DVR function and record every Saturday if you're watching through Impact. If you're watching us on our social media platforms, please like our content, share the content, and of course, subscribe. If you want to leave a donation to support the work we're doing, text PUSH to 41444. Now we want to extend congratulations to Judge Mathis is having a new reality show called Mathis Family Matters. That's going to premiere on June the 19th on the entertainment channel E. So we want you to check it out and support, again, our board member, Judge Mathis. We also want to congratulate Tyrone Studemeyer, who is one of the board members of Push Excel. He held a very successful HBCU President's Roundtable, and we want to congratulate him for all the work that he's doing with Push Excel. We also dedicate today's broadcast to Bishop Steve Smith, who was the director of the Push Telecom Project, and his services were held on April the 29th. And we also dedicate today's broadcast to the memory of Michael Magnus Sr., who is the son of our very own Betty Magnus. We're asking you, our viewers, to pray with us for these families during this difficult time. And while we're praying, let's not forget to pray for peace in Ukraine.
I knew that someday before that I died, that any mistake would be correct.
President Biden this week issued the first of his presidential pardons. And among them was Abraham Bolden Sr., who was the first Black Secret Service agent who served on a presidential detail. He protected President John F. Kennedy in the 1960s, but was accused in 1964 of bribery on a counterfeiting case he was involved with.
I don't think that any citizen of the United States of America should have to endure what I had to endure simply because I wanted to tell the truth. I swore to uphold the Constitution of the United States. I went to prison, but that was my oath. And that oath binds me for the rest of my life because my word is my bond.
The annual International Rainbow Push Convention is coming up, and we want you to mark your calendars. Mark your calendars for June the 18th until June the 22nd. And this year, we're going to be pushing for new markets. We're going to be pushing for new markets in media, new markets in sports, new markets in housing. We're going to be pushing for new markets in technology. If you're interested in learning all of the markets that we're going to be pushing for, please go to our website at www.rainbowpush.org and learn more information. You can also register at the same website. Early bird registration is only $50, and we're going to be honoring the early bird registration fee until May the 31st. After May the 31st, the registration fee goes up to $100, so get your registration while you can. The first day is going to be an exciting day where we're going to be celebrating graduates. We're going to be celebrating all who have graduated at all levels in this year, but also in the year 2021 and in 2020. So we want to make the Education Day at this convention one of the best ever. I'm so excited to introduce a young man who's been participating in the Push Excel Oratorical Society for many years now. He is going to be reciting a poem called Black Blood. Please give your attention now to Gabriel Gatherite.
Trayvon Martin, an unarmed black teenager, was shot down by a white neighborhood watchman who claimed self-defense.
Travis McMichael was acting in self-defense when he killed Arbery, and that the pursuit by two armed white men of an unarmed young black man was perfectly legal.
And the Inspector General notes police brass who signed off on the shooting as justified were able to retire and not face disciplinary action.
Black Blood by Tim Lee. There's blood on the streets, and it's crying out. It's black blood. It's innocent blood. There's blood on the streets, and it's flowing out of the bodies of my black people. There's blood on the streets, and it's crying out. Can you hear? Who will hear? There's blood on the streets, and it's calling out for we who have ears to awaken. So wake up, you sleeping giant. The power within you is needed. Wake up, you sleeping giant. We're in danger of being defeated. Awaken the power within your mind, the power within your heart and soul. Awaken the physical power you suppressed and fear that you couldn't control it. Let go of the fear of failure. Let go of the fear of defeat. And with love for your people and love for yourself, succeed or be forced to repeat. There is power, wonder-working power in the blood of the Lamb. There is power, wonder-working power in the precious blood of Sandra Bland and Eric Gardner and Trayvon Martin and Oscar Grant and Freddie Gray and Rakia Boyd and Mike Brown and Tamir Rice and Laquan McDonald and Sean Bell and Jordan Davis and Alton Sterling and Philando Castle and George Meadows and Ruby Stacy and Mary Turner and Jesse Washington and Thomas Shipp and Abram Smith and Reverend George Lee and Lamar Smith and Willie Edwards Jr. and Mac Charles Parker and Herbert Lee and Addie Mae Collins and Denise McNair and Carol Robinson and Cynthia Wesley and Emmett Lewis Teal and Medgar Evers and Lewis Allen and Charles Eddie Moore and O'Neill Moore and El Haj Malik Shabazz and Willie Brewster and Ben Chester White and Benjamin Brown and Martin Luther King Jr. and Harry T. Moore and Harriet V. Moore and Fred Hampton and Ahmaud Arbery and George Floyd and Breonna Taylor. There's blood on the streets, and it's pouring out. The outpour creates a red pond. The blood of our innocent is shouting out. Black people, will you respond?
Well, we're here with Pastor Gerald Dude, the senior pastor, Rev Dr Gerald Dude, the senior pastor of the Antioch Missionary Baptist Church in Chicago. And I know many of you watched the church collapse as a result of the fire. Well, we don't want you to just watch. I want you to hear from Pastor Dude how we can be helpful to him. I don't know how many of you have lost anything during the pandemic, physically, challenges to your homes, challenges to property, and even lost loved ones. It is a devastating moment. And as a pastor, to lose the building, which you said on the news, which I thought was just so profound, the building is not the church. Right. The people are the church. But as you talk about a worship center, what was Antioch before the fire in terms of a facility? How was it being used?
Well, first of all, Dr. Wilson, let me thank you for this opportunity to share, and let me greet all of you in the name of Jesus. Antioch, the ministry, has been iconic, not just in Chicago, but across this nation. And the facility that it occupied became a landmark in the Inglewood community and in the city of Chicago. My immediate predecessor, Dr. W. Daniel, was the first to take advantage of the federal housing program, 202 housing program, and develop housing for seniors, for families, and for the physically challenged. And churches and organizations from across the land would come to Antioch to learn how to do housing as an economic development engine for low and moderate income families. And so Antioch has been an incredible ministry. I've been pastor there now for 21 years.
Wow.
And the loss of the building is devastating. When you think about how many marriages and how many baby blessings and how many baptisms and how many salvations and how many people, found their faith and returned to their faith and learned the scriptures and learned the hymns and learned the gospels, the banquets, the birthday parties, the retirements. And so the building is lost, and sometimes those physical edifices are points of contact for person's faith, much like the stones that many times would be set up as memorials in the Old Testament. These buildings, even the facility we're in now, has a special meaning for the people of Push and for the Jacksons and the ministry that he has done down through the years.
He had a Good Friday service this year, and something unusual happened. While you had finished the Good Friday service, you were on your way home, or you had made it home, and then you received a call.
Right. It was Good Friday. We had a 12 noon Good Friday service. It was incredible. And it was from 12 to 1. By 2 o'clock, everyone had left the facility. Everything was locked up by that time. I was at home. I got a call from our building maintenance supervisor who said, Pastor, there's a fire at the church. And so my first thought was a trash can caught on fire, or, a battery exploded and caused a little fire someplace. And so I asked him, I said, well, do I need to come back and see? And he said, well, I'm not sure. I just know, he said that one of the other members who was at the bus stop had turned around and looked back at the church and saw smoke billowing from the roof. And so I said, I need to get back.
I think, though, people don't realize, and many people that are watching, you are not in Chicago, you're all over the world. I know you're wondering, what does Antioch, the church, and that building mean to the broader community? Well, it sits in Inglewood, a community that has been economically challenged for a number of years, many decades. But Antioch provided so many different ministries to Inglewood and to the city. And so when the building is down, it impacts the ability to provide the ministry. So maybe you should share with us some of the ministries.
Some of the ministries, of course, we have a great health ministry that does health fairs in partnership with St. Bernard Hospital and Advocate Health Systems. We have a great outreach program. The facility has a gymnasium. And of course, we would have open basketball for young men in the community, jobs training programs, tutorial programs, seniors, computer lab and exercise program for seniors and families. It was the parish place for the community. And we would even host funerals for persons that were not members. And we just opened our building. We wanted to be good neighbors, or we are good neighbors. and we've given to that community, food giveaways. I mean, you name it, we've done it.
So when you think about Antioch, we think about all of these services that now have to be displaced because the people who are used to coming to that building to get the food, coming to that building for computer training, coming to that building. He even had off-site seminary classes at Antioch. And so now with the building down, it has to be rebuilt, and we need your help. How can you help Antioch? How can we help Antioch?
Well, the first thing you can do is you can pray. You can pray that God would give us wisdom and knowledge and understanding of how to move forward, how to select contractors, how to design a facility that would be as user-friendly and yet God-honoring as it can possibly be in these, what I would call last and evil days. And so certainly pray. Pray for the membership of Antioch and pray for the leadership of Antioch. You can certainly pray. There has been a gathering of clergy and community leaders, not just in Chicago, but across the nation, that have determined that the third Sunday in May, Sunday, May the 15th, would be a Sunday for churches and individuals to make contributions toward the Build Antioch initiative. And there's information on our website, ambcchicago.org. You'll see a tab that says Build Antioch. You can just go there. You can make contributions. And certainly we're operating with the highest level of integrity and transparency. All of your contributions are tax deductible, and we'll have systems of accountability, and we'll make full disclosing reports of all contributions received.
So what we want you to do is you're watching this broadcast, and we'll show you a video of the church as it was burning. And so you now know that even though the church had insurance, because I know y'all wonder, did it have insurance? Yes, but it does not cover everything that has to be done. Can you imagine the lost photos and the lost videos, the lost equipment, the computers? There's just so many things that we take for granted. We want to be a blessing to Antioch because Antioch has been such a blessing to people who live in Inglewood, but also as a model for church ministry. And if you want to be a blessing, if you want to help Antioch, Reverend Jackson would ask you to go to ambcchicago.org. 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 You can see it on the screen and make your contribution. If you think you're going to forget before the third Sunday in May, do it now.
Do it now.
Make a donation, ambc.org. And it is tax deductible, 501c3. Antioch is a 501c3 tax exempt organization. We want to be a blessing, so we want you to do two things. Pray and give. Pray and give. And God will bless you for the gifts.
Thank you so much for your generosity. Thank you so much for your prayers. Thank you, Dr. Wilson. And my thanks really goes to Reverend Jackson for this wonderful, phenomenal opportunity. Keep us in your prayers.
And keep hope alive.
Hi, I'm Dr. Sonia Whitaker, National Education Policy Director for Push for Excellence. And we are thrilled to invite you to the next event in our National Critical Thinking Series entitled Shaping America's Education Agenda. This event will take place virtually on May 17th from 6:30 p.m. to 8 o'clock p.m. And the focus for this event in particular is on the fact that on May 17th, it will be the 68th anniversary of Brown versus Board of Education. During this virtual live national discussion, our distinguished panelists will engage in spirited dialogue about how far we've come as a nation, and equally important, where do we want to go next? You don't want to miss out on this discussion. Register for this free virtual event by visiting us at pushexcel.org. We look forward to seeing you there.
Good morning. Thank you for joining us for the Saturday Morning Forum. As the Rainbow Push Coalition continues to focus on advancing the causes that affect our families and communities, we are reminded that the struggle for freedom and equality is ongoing. The Saturday Morning Forum is the place where you can stay up to date on the issues that matter to all of us and the work of Reverend Jackson and the Rainbow Push Coalition to fight for those issues. Later on in the show, I will share with you information about a proposed policy change that will affect our community's health, as well as a number of key decisions and actions that have made a difference in the fight for equality in America. So stay tuned for this week's Due Process, and thank you for being a part of the Saturday Morning Forum.
Let me express my thanks to you, the media, for coming out here today. We're in a crisis of emergency support. We need federal intervention. Chicago, we need federal intervention. Citizens in counties and states are overwhelmed, stopping drugs at the borders, but more getting in and getting in and being locked out. Drugs are flowing in, guns are flowing in, and stand your ground laws will not stop it. Open carry will not stop it. There must be a cease of flow of guns, drugs. Last week in Iran and Ukraine, there was a siege of the east by Russia. 8 people were killed. 8 people were killed. This is a war zone. In this violence, business cannot grow. Adults are prisoners in their own home. Children cannot play. We deserve more security than this. Now, we need to have Chairman Durbin is head of the Judiciary. We want him to convene hearings in Chicago as a place. It's not the only place. Memphis, St. Louis, all these has high crimes in these cities. It's unnatural. It's a social phenomenon. We cannot accept it any longer. 157 have been killed in Chicago. Woman was killed this morning at 10:30, 158 not killed now. And 600 plus injured. We need help. I want Father Flicker to address this issue. For you to hear me as we make this appeal. There's something unnatural about this. We know where the guns are coming from Indiana, from Kentucky. Women are coming to Trust Gun Shop. And we just stand and let them come in.
Past weekend, we saw a warm weather taste of summer, but we also got a taste of what summer might be in violence. And we got to take note of that. I hope it's a wake-up call. I hope it's a wake-up call for all of us. What's our plan? What's our preventive strategy? What's our alternatives for our youth? What actions are we going to take and put in place now? Not in July, not in August, not talking about the numbers. Yes, we need to have a plan from the city, the county, the state, the federal. What's their plan to help with these numbers? But I also have to ask Chicago, what are we going to do? In every home, what are we going to do about watching our children, caring for our children, where our children are at, those who are out in curfew to be in home in time. And our blocks, we've got to reconnect, phone trees, meetings, turning lights on, whatever we're going to do in our block. Every block ought to have a plan for its block, looking out for one another. We need to have a neighborhood that looks out after each other again. What the neighborhood, the area is going to do, there should be meetings with police districts and churches and businesses and citizens in every police district to see what can we do. Churches, synagogues, and mosques, what's your plan? Besides holding services, what are you going to do in your community to make sure that people are safe and our youth have alternatives? When there is a storm coming, and all the news stations, your weather people come out and tell us, get prepared. There's a hurricane coming. This is what you should do. This is where you should go. Well, there's a storm coming toward Chicago this summer. What are we going to do? What's our plans? How are we going to be preventive instead of talking about the bodies in our streets. If we do not have a plan, in our homes, our blocks, our neighborhoods, the city, the state, the government, the law enforcement, churches, synagogues, mosques, if we don't have a plan, then we are co-conspirators to the violence. All of us have a part in this, all of us, and we've got to come up with something now.
And there's a crisis, and that crisis requires a response. And so in saying that, as an education community, we need to make sure that our community is aware of what we have to offer and what's available to our youth. The largest percentage of individuals not in school, not working, is between 16 to 24. That's the youth population that we need to engage in educational opportunities. And as Bishop Coleman said, preachers need to come out of the pulpit into the public. We need our educators out of the classroom and the corridors into the community. And so therefore we need to be engaged as well. We are opening our doors as partners in this work. We have the educational pillar in this community, but I call on my educational partners across the city to do the same. We all need to lock arms and be committed to ensuring that our youth have an option. And when we say dream bigger and do greater, we can't say that and then we let their dreams get cut. Right. We let their dreams get squashed by the possibility of gunfire. I also speak as a mother of a 16-year-old boy, young man, in this community, in this city. And I worry every day, despite all the dreams he has, that it could be cut at any moment because we're not responding to the crisis that exists. So we need to step up across the board. It's not just one entity that has a responsibility. We all have a responsibility to do more so that we can support what it really means to have an engaged youth and give them the opportunities that are expected.
Hello, 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 everyone. It's Dr. Joseph Bryant Jr., Executive Director of the Rainbow Push West Coast Silicon Valley office. And we are so excited about our upcoming Push Tech Conference. You must register because your registration is literally going to be your ticket to opportunity. We're not just inviting you to come and watch a conference. We are inviting you to engage with us because your ticket will give you access to opportunities like no other. We are giving away opportunities for every person registered for the Push Tech Conference to experience after the conference some wonderful opportunities to expand your business, improve your ministry, to help students develop trade and abilities in technology, as well as utilizing our links to connect you to the metaverse and to virtual reality like no other. So you must register. We're gonna make sure every person uses that ticket to opportunity to have a chance to be trained in our partnership with Facebook/Meta in their Elevate Digital Certification Program. We are offering the opportunity to help students, especially college-age students, prepare for digital careers. Not just enjoying social media, but working and making money using social media in a program with Meta that helps connect young people to their certification process and then connect Black and brown minority small businesses to access and maximize the internet and social media for your benefit. So we're making those opportunities. That training is going to be free for everyone that connects to the conference. We are also presenting free opportunities for anyone interested in the evolving e-gaming and esports world to connect with us as the founder and commissioner of the fan-controlled Football League. Ray Austin will be talking about opportunities online for you to engage. There will be various former football players that are now working in the esports and augmented reality who are looking for interns to be a part of that experience in gaming and esports and sports technology. You will have access to all of those folks if you register. Then we also never forget our faith community through our Faith Tech Connected Churches program. If you register for the conference, your church can get a free assessment and a free training on social media, Zoom, live streaming. Again, your ticket to opportunity comes as you register for the Push Tech Conference. And last but certainly not least, the highlight of the conference is going to be a tour through the metaverse that is going to be narrated by former President Barack Obama. It's called The People's House, and you will be able to have an experience online where you will go into the rooms of the White House being guided and narrated by President Obama. Isn't that exciting? I'm telling you, you need your ticket to opportunity. You need to support, you need to sponsor, you need to connect, you need to engage, you need to promote. You need to get the word out, because that experience alone is a game changer, because not only will you be able to use your ticket to opportunity to go into those rooms under the voice of President Obama, we are going to make links available to every person that registers for you to have your own access moving past the conference. So again, after the conference ends, you'll be able to do even more. We'll teach you and train you and show you how you can maximize your experience in the virtual world, in the metaverse, and take advantage of these realities that we are presenting through our Push Tech platform. Sign up today, register today. Businesses, get online with us today. Companies that want to partner, support, sponsor, engage, get with us right here, right now. Don't wait another second. Click on right now, go online and register at rainbowpushsv.org. For more information, you can send an email to us and we will provide as much information as you need, but do not miss registering for this year's Push Tech Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion Conference. It's going to be a game changer. See you there.
This is Bishop Tavis Grant, the National Field Director for the Rainbow Push Coalition. And I want to thank you for being part of our Saturday morning international forum. You know, so much is happening around the country as we are pressing. This is our 50th anniversary, celebrating, commemorating the work of Jesse Louis Jackson and the Rainbow Push Coalition. One of those issues that have been close to Reverend Jackson's heart is affordable housing. And we once again have an incredible brother. He's done so much in Chicago, around the country. He has been a strong advocate as it relates to housing and how critical that is. Affordable, livable, quality housing. Brother G2 Brown. Yes, sir. You know, as we look at what's happening in Chicago and around the country, talk to us about it, because you know, you and your organizing talk a lot about quality of life institutions. Yes, sir. And that includes quality of life communities and affordable housing. Yes, sir. Sustainable housing, safe, accessible housing is critical to that.
Absolutely. So first, Bishop, thank you for having me, brother. It's always good to be in your space with you. So I guess what I would say for sisters and brothers that are watching, to frame this, we have a belief in the Journey for Justice Alliance. We say that the foundation of any nation are the institutions that lay the structure for the people's development. Institutions are basically structures, and I don't mean places, I mean services and programs that meet a basic need. And it has to be sustainable. So if you have housing institutions, I mean, you have a system of housing in your city. Education institutions, you have a system of how children learn. If you're a child in the mountains of South Africa, and you may go to school in the back of a truck, they call it a crest or a truck, but you're getting a quality education in those spaces. You still have education institutions. What we've learned here just through our time in the United States is that one of the ways that poverty is reinforced is the sabotage of our basic quality of life institutions. Most Americans don't have to worry about whether they have a grocery store or not. Most Americans don't have to engage with slumlords, right? Most Americans don't have to worry about if they have a school or a hospital or how they're treated by law enforcement. But or systems for economic development where the businesses in the community can feed the community, and then it goes back into those businesses. But in our communities, if we're honest, when you go all over the United States, 80% of the institutions are owned by people that are outside of our communities. And then they operate those institutions based on their opinions of us. So this is why, and I don't want to get off subject, but this is why, Black kindergarten, first grade, and second grade children get suspended and arrested. Not because they're worse than other children, but it's because of the lens in which they are seen. And so the same thing with housing. We believe if you pay taxes, whether that tax is a mortgage or a bag of potato chips, you should have the right to basic quality of life institutions that meet your needs. You should have a grocery store. You should have a good school. That's not a handout. We pay into this system every day. And the question is, what's the return on our investment?
Well, recently we became aware here in Chicago and around the country of this growing pandemic, not COVID, but slumlords.
Yes, sir.
And we've seen so far 400 buildings here in Chicago, the same in New York, Atlanta, these large urban areas where these hedge fund investors come in and shell corporations,
yes, sir,
buy these properties up. And one of the things you've been working on is rent control. Talk to us about, now that the moratorium has been lifted,
yes, sir,
evictions are through the roof.
They're through the roof.
And the same landlords across the country are raising rents to astronomical levels, and it's causing a migration that many Americans are not aware.
Absolutely.
That these people have to have somewhere to live, and they may be moving next door to you real soon.
Yes, sir. So I want to reframe that if I could. All over this country, the Black population in many urban cities is diminishing, is decreasing. And what we're seeing as the two drivers of it is the loss of affordable housing and the loss of schools. So housing and education have been weaponized to reshape urban landscapes. Chocolate City is not Chocolate City anymore. One of the more expensive places to rent or purchase housing in the United States, but also the second most chartered school district in the United States.
Is the District of Columbia, Washington,
D.C. District of Columbia, that's right. And so we've gone from 70% of the population to fewer than 50%. Right here in Chicago, we've lost 250,000 people since the year 2000, 250,000 people. And the common links, the loss of schools, the loss of housing. So if you take away those basic quality of life institutions, people basically scatter to find somewhere. So if you're a mother that's on Section 8, and your building goes condo, right? Or the rent goes out over the roof like you was just talking about. And then you look for who's accepting a Section 8 certificate, and you look up and you see Des Moines, Iowa, right? Or you see Ford Heights, Illinois, but not Chicago. And so I think our campaign, and I want to be clear that while I'm a son of the Kenwood Oakland Community Organization. So rent control is a campaign that Coco has been a part of moving. And what we're saying is that right now in the state of Illinois, there's a ban on rent control. And why is rent control important? Because we need to have checks and balances on the amount of profit that people can make, how people can price gouge the public in regards to just having a decent place to live.
As you can see, this brother is passionate, he is persistent, and he doesn't mind protesting under any circumstances.
Yes, sir.
Tell our audience how they can reach your organization, how they can reach you.
Absolutely. So the name of our organization, again, is the Journey for Justice Alliance. We are a national organization of grassroots community groups in maybe 38, 39 cities across the country. And we're committed to using community organizing to win equity. Now, you can reach us at our website at www.jalliance.com. Our campaign website, which is leading up to our Equity or Else campaign, is www.standing4equity.org.
Now, your convention's in September?
Yes, sir. Well, our conference is May 20th and 21st in Baltimore, Maryland. And then we are going public with our quality of life agenda, September 20th and 21st in Washington, D.C.
And we're partnering with them. And those of you who want to be a part of this work, I want you to go to rainbowpush.org. You know, the work of Rainbow Push and Reverend Jesse Jackson is a collaborative work. And that was the reason why Reverend Jackson pivoted from Rainbow, from Operation Push to the Rainbow Push Coalition to collaborate with organizations and organizers like G2 Brown to be able to maximize our leverage and ensure that we are able to have access to capital and receive equal protection under the law and make sure we have a quality of life agenda. And so you want to be a part of what we're doing. They're going to be participating in our convention here in Chicago, June 18th to the June 22nd. Go to our website and follow us on all of the social media platforms. And don't ever forget, we are keeping hope alive. Thank you.
My brother.
Push Excel's goal is to inspire students to strive for excellence in education in spite of personal, family, and community challenges that they might experience. How do we do this? By advocating for educational policies that guarantee equal funding for all students without regard to race or economic standing. By engaging parents, students, and teachers in pursuing high-quality education and striving for educational excellence at every level. And by forging partnerships with community-based and public sector stakeholders in education. Now, Push Excel is a national model program with the purpose of connecting principals, parents, popular personalities, and students in a bond and to support students at every level on the educational ladder. Now, we want you to become a member of the Rainbow Push Coalition and Push Excel. Your annual membership can help us to change policies that impact students, colleges, and universities all around the country. So step up and sign up today. Membership is only $35, and if you're a student or a senior, $15. Just go to our website, rainbowpush.org, and push join to become a member or push donate to support the Push Excel program. You can also text the word Push Excel, that's PUSHEXCEL, to 41444 on your cell phone, and you can give us any amount that you feel comfortable giving or call us at 773-256-2775. Wherever you are, you can support us as we keep pushing for you. And remember to keep hope alive.
Welcome to this week's Due Process. I'm Todd Yeary. The family of Emmett Till has called for the reopening of an investigation into the Chicago youth's killing in Mississippi. Family members want authorities to explore a kidnapping prosecution against the woman who made the allegation of inappropriate advances that served as the catalyst for the mob violence that led to Emmett Till's lynching in 1955. And while Carolyn Donham was named in a warrant connected with Till's abduction, she was never arrested nor tried in the horrific murder that sent shockwaves across the country. While many believe that pursuing such a prosecution will prove quite difficult, the family members of Emmett Till believe it is necessary to complete the pursuit of justice for Emmett's murder. Carolyn Donham is now in her late 80s and most recently lived in North Carolina. It had been reported that Donham had recounted her claims about Till making improper advances toward her. However, no supporting documentation was ever provided to the Justice Department. The then 14-year-old Till was visiting relatives in Mississippi when he entered a store in August 1955. Donham, who was 21 years old at the time, accused Till of whistling at her and testified at trial that he actually grabbed her. Donham's then husband, Roy Bryant, and his half-brother, J.W. Milam, were convicted of killing Emmett Till and dumping his body in the Tallahatchie River. We will keep you updated on this story as we await the Justice Department's decision on whether to prosecute Dunham and fulfill the call for justice for Emmett Till. This week, President Joe Biden granted 3 pardons, the first of his term in the Oval Office. He also commuted the sentences of 75 people who had been convicted of nonviolent drug offenses. Among the 3 pardons issued was one given to Abraham Bolden Sr., the first Black Secret Service agent to serve on the presidential detail. Bolden had been selected personally by President John F. Kennedy during a visit to Chicago in April of 1961. While Bolden had been assigned to guard the restroom and remain virtually out of public view, President Kennedy happened to visit the restroom, meeting Bolden and inviting him to join the presidential detail. Mr. Bolden shared his story on Reverend Jackson's syndicated radio program, Keep Hope Alive with Reverend Jesse Jackson. During the interview, Mr. Bolden recalled how some of the agents assigned to guard President Kennedy were at times not on post or were engaging in misconduct while on duty. Bolden was indicted on federal bribery charges for allegedly attempting to sell Secret Service files for $50,000. After the first trial ended with a hung jury, Bolden was convicted in the second trial. He would serve 39 months in prison and another 2 years on probation after his release. Throughout the ordeal, Abraham Bolden maintained his innocence, and key witnesses admitted lying at the urging of prosecutors. President Biden granted Bolden's pardon on April 25th, almost 61 years to the day that he met President Kennedy in Chicago. The Jackie Robinson of the Secret Service, as Bolden says President Kennedy often called him, has had his name and his character restored. The long fight to defend his innocence is now over. In a major policy move, the U.S. Food and Drug Administration has announced a policy proposal that would ban menthol as an additive flavor in cigarettes. The proposed rule is intended to reduce dependency on cigarettes and nicotine, particularly in the African American community. The agency indicated that flavored cigarettes are specifically targeted to communities of color and leads to greater dependency on both the flavor and the chemical content in tobacco. The data indicates that more than 18.5 million cigarette smokers use menthol-flavored tobacco products, most of them in the African American community. The proposal is expected to reduce the enticement of cigarette smoking amongst young people and young adults, and improve the overall health and reduce the mortality risk of current cigarette smokers by leading to a decrease in the numbers of cigarettes smoked. However, even with the proposed ban, the FDA will be unable to enforce the ban against individual consumers for either possessing or using menthol-flavored tobacco products. Public comment on the proposed rule will open on May 4th. And will allow for input on the proposed rule, including potential adverse impact on the African American community and other communities of color. Rainbow Push Coalition is reviewing the proposed rule and will be providing input and feedback to the FDA during the open comment period. In Memphis, Tennessee, a prosecutor has dropped all criminal charges against Pamela Moses, who was serving a 6-year prison sentence for attempting to register to vote. Moses was convicted last year and was sentenced in January. However, she was granted a new trial after documents were published showing that prosecutors had withheld information from her defense lawyers ahead of her trial. At issue in her case was whether she knew she was ineligible to vote when the probation officer presented Moses with documentation that she had completed her probation for a 2015 felony conviction and that she was then eligible to vote. The probation officer admitted making the mistake. However, the prosecutors accused Moses of deceiving the probation officer in order to gain the necessary permissions. While Moses's conviction has been overturned, she is still permanently barred from voting in Tennessee because she pleaded guilty to a charge of tampering with evidence. That charge carries with it a permanent ban on voting rights in the state. In Tennessee, more than 1 in 5 otherwise eligible black voters cannot vote because of a felony conviction based on data from the Sentencing Project. While the overturning of Moses' conviction is concluded, the work of restoring voting rights to persons who have completed their sentences continues. Rainbow Push Coalition will continue to fight for the restoration of voting rights for ex-offenders and will push for federal legislation that protects the voting rights of all people. In HBCU news, Spelman College has named Dr. Helene D. Gale as the 11th president of the Black Women's College in Atlanta. Dr. Gale currently serves as president and CEO of the Chicago Community Trust, a multi-billion-dollar philanthropic foundation that focuses on closing the racial wealth gap. The trust, under Dr. Gale's leadership, was a key strategic partner in Rainbow Push Coalition's efforts to respond to the COVID-19 pandemic and food insecurity in Chicago. Before her tenure at Chicago Community Trust, Dr. Gale led CARE, the international humanitarian organization that focuses on eradicating poverty, particularly among women and girls. A medical doctor by training, Dr. Gale will assume the helm of Spelman College, which is widely recognized as a leading producer of black women who go on to receive doctoral degrees in science, technology, engineering, and math fields. On behalf of Reverend Jackson, Rainbow Push Coalition, and Push for Excellence, our education policy and programmatic organization, we say congratulations to a friend and partner in the work of social justice, and we look forward to partnering with Dr. Gale in her new role as president of Spelman College. Meanwhile, Morris Brown College reached a significant milestone that has been 20 years in the making. This week, the college received full accreditation from the Transnational Association of Christian Colleges and Schools, also known as TRACS. The restoration of accreditation allows the college to access federal education funding, including financial aid, Pell Grants, and other funds to cover education costs. The Atlanta-based HBCU lost its accreditation from the Southern Association of Colleges and Schools 20 years ago due to financial difficulties. President Kevin James, who assumed the helm of the college in 2019, refused to buy into the notion that the days of meeting the educational needs of students were now foreclosed. Faced with ever-growing expenses and debt and an aging infrastructure, the 141-year-old school would have to overcome near impossible challenges in order to regain its accreditation and restore its status among HBCUs. Morris Brown College is an institution of higher learning of the African Methodist Episcopal Church. We congratulate Bishop Reginald Jackson, President Kevin Davis, the Board of Trustees, faculty, alumni, and students on this important achievement. This week in American history, Muhammad Ali, the world heavyweight boxing champion, refused induction into the U.S. Army, citing religious reasons. In response, he was stripped of his boxing title. Ali defeated Sonny Liston in 1964 and converted to Islam that same year. As he was rising in national stature and popularity, the United States was finding itself mired in the expanding war in Vietnam. On April 28, 1967, Ali denied the request for induction, noting, quote, "I ain't got no quarrel with those Viet Cong," end quote. He would be convicted of draft evasion, sentenced to 5 years in prison, fined $10,000, and was banned from boxing for 3 years. While his case was appealed in the federal courts, Ali continued to fight, including the fight of the century against Joe Frazier in 1971. On June 28th that year, the U.S. Supreme Court overturned his conviction for evading the draft. Justice Thurgood Marshall was recused from hearing the case, and the court was initially ambivalent about hearing Ali's case at all. However, Justice John Marshall Harlan began to research the beliefs of Islam and reached the conclusion that as part of Ali's sincerely held religious beliefs, he objected to being sent to fight a war with a country against whom he had no grievance. Justice Potter Stewart urged the other justices to consider that Ali had been denied due process because the Kentucky appeals process did not state a basis for upholding Ali's conviction. The justices agreed. Even Chief Justice Warren Burger, who was initially against overturning the lower court's ruling. In the end, the Supreme Court unanimously voted to overturn the draft evasion conviction of Muhammad Ali, and the champion of conscience and justice was vindicated. As we prepare for the upcoming Rainbow Push Coalition International Convention, we want you to get ready to join us. We're coming together June 18th through the 21st at the South Shore Cultural Center in Chicago to focus on the development of new markets and pursuing new opportunities after the global pandemic. As we continue to fight for equity in capital markets, in boardrooms and in C-suites, in education and community development, we also continue to protect the hard-fought gains in voting rights and racial justice. Meet us on the South Side, June 18th through 21st. Go to rainbowpush.org to follow the convention planning and to register. And while you're visiting the site, join the movement. Become a member of Rainbow Push Coalition and partner with us as we continue the fight for justice for all. That is this week's Due Process. I'm Todd Yeary.
That's our show for today. We want to thank you so much for tuning in on whatever platform you are watching. If you haven't done so already, please like our content, share our content, subscribe to us on YouTube and Facebook. Look at our social medias down there at the bottom of the screen and make sure you stay involved with what the Rainbow Push Coalition is doing. If you want to give and donate to sustain the work that we're doing here, please don't hesitate to text the word PUSH, P-U-S-H, to 41444. Listen, friends, we thank you for everything you do to keep hope alive. We thank you for everything you're doing to help us push for change, to push for justice, freedom, and equality. Listen, I'm going to see you next week, same time, same place. And until then, I'm Tim Lee.
We're excited to get more people involved in Rainbow Push, supporting the programs of Push for Excellence and the Citizenship Education Fund. If you're interested in impacting public policies, if you believe in the scholarships that we give to thousands of students each and every year, you can become a policymaker by becoming a member of Rainbow Push right now. For an annual membership of $35, or if you're a student or senior, $15, you can help us make a difference in the lives of millions. How do you become a member? Visit our website at rainbowpush.org and press join. Or maybe you'd like to support us. You can text the word PUSH, that's P-U-S-H, to 41444 on your cell phone, and you can give any amount you feel comfortable giving. You can also call us at 773-256-2775, or go to rainbowpush.org and push donate. Wherever you are, you can support us as we keep pushing.